Again?
We are now recording.
Great. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order, the December 15th, 2020 meeting of the Millbrook Library Board of Trustees, calling it to order. We do have a quorum. I also just want to introduce James, who's here tonight, sitting in as a guest at our meeting. Welcome, James.
Hi.
I don't know if do you want to just take a minute and introduce yourself, say something about where you live and your...
Sure. So my name is James Eads. I grew up in Millbrook, lifelong resident. Moved around a little bit after high school, came back. I have two kids that go to the district in first and third grade, and I also work for Millbrook Central School District in the tech department. Been doing tech for about 6 years, and I'm very interested in seeing how this goes tonight.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us, as I mentioned before.
Thanks for the invite.
All right. So our first order of business is to approve the November meeting minutes, which we sent around in advance of tonight's meeting. Is there a motion or any discussion for the November meeting minutes?
Oh, dark. Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting's minutes.
Okay, great. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Kate seconded. And all in favor to approve the November minutes? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, then we have approved the minutes from November. We've introduced our guest who's here, James. As for President's Report, there are two quick items. I sent around a list of the proposed meeting dates for 2021, just following our regular schedule of the third Tuesday of each month. So I guess I would just like us to approve the proposed meeting dates. Is there a motion to approve the 2021 meeting dates? Carrie?
I'll make the motion.
All right, second?
I'll second.
Okay, Michael. And all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, and any opposed? Hearing none, we'll approve that list of proposed meeting dates for 2021. And they can now be posted on the website. And then the other thing I just wanted to remind everyone, I think there's some still outstanding annual disclosure statements that are required each year that we would really need to have, we should have by the end of December. So what I'll do is send it around again. And if you haven't already submitted it, if you could do that, either take it directly to the library or mail it in or scan it, sign it and scan it and email it in.
I have a question. I did it, and I think I said it, but I would appreciate it if Courtney maybe would send me an email telling me that if I haven't, like if it didn't come through or she doesn't have mine or something.
Okay, we'll confirm that with you after the meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kate.
Okay.
And that's all I have for the President's Report. So I will now turn it over to Courtney.
Hi, everybody. So when I sent out my report, I didn't have any action items, but I'd like to add something to it where I'll get to it in personnel. But basically, Justin O'Hearn is going to be coming back as our clerk. He's going to replace Elizabeth's spot. And at first we were talking about him just subbing until we found somebody. And then he said he wanted to do it and would work his school classes around it. So it worked out very well. But we'll get to that. For COVID-19 updates, things are getting interesting. And I'm anticipating that we'll need to soon go back to curbside. So when I first sent out the winter COVID plan that I sent around to everybody, the guidelines were different, and the state keeps changing the guidelines. So when I first sent them out, the guidelines were like you had to be above a certain percentage to qualify to be in a yellow zone, and you had to have like a certain number of people testing positive per 100,000 residents, I believe. And the state has changed things a couple of times, and I believe the latest specifications are that include hospitalization rates. So basically, if your numbers show that your hospitals are going to be overwhelmed within 3 weeks, then you get placed into a zone. All that being said, our numbers are uncomfortable. Dutchess County is almost the highest point that we were in April, which was the worst of all of this. And I checked the dashboard today, and the town of Washington actually has 6 cases, which is the most I've seen since this whole thing started. So I was talking about this with Tom a little bit today, and we're thinking that maybe after Christmas it might be a good idea to go back to curbside, because we saw a huge spike after Thanksgiving, and I can only imagine we're going to see an even bigger spike after Christmas. So even if it's only for like a couple of weeks until the numbers go back down a little bit, I think that might be something that we might need to seriously consider, just to keep everybody safe. There are a couple of libraries in Dutchess County that either are doing curbside or are shortly going to be moving to curbside. It was going around in the director's emails today. So like Rhine Cliff is doing curbside. Rhinebeck just moved to curbside. LaGrange is closed because they had to quarantine their whole staff, and then when they open, they're just doing curbside. So it's definitely becoming more of a trend in Dutchess County. There are a lot of other directors that are saying like they're not going to go to curbside until we're placed into an orange zone. But I think that was kind of like the same way that I was thinking when I first laid out our plan, and without the state changing what that actually meant. So I just wanted to put this out here, and I'm not saying that we should like pick a date today or anything, but it's just something that we may need to decide to do within the next couple of weeks. And just to give you all an update on what I'm thinking with it, I think it would really make the staff feel comfortable. Everybody's been very good so far, and nobody's really expressed discomfort with, besides like the normal just general fear of pandemic. But I think it's definitely a concern for the staff that the numbers are going up. So just something to think about.
Are you guys offering curbside?
What was that?
Are you currently offering curbside pickup? I think you have been the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, and I just recently pushed it on social media because I wasn't sure if people actually knew that we were still doing it, and we have seen like a couple more people start to use it. But it's been an option this whole time since we opened up in July.
Okay.
So another thing to go along with COVID is I'd like to add some wording into our pandemic policy that creates some kind of consequences for people that repeatedly need to be asked to wear their mask properly. There's a number of people that come into the library and mostly use the computers and sit for a while, and where I've consistently needed to tell them that they need to pull up their mask or put it on or wear it properly. And I feel like my words don't really have a lot of weight behind them because I can just go up and keep reminding them, but there's no real consequences. And they know at this point what they're supposed to be doing. So I just I thought I would put it out there to the policy committee if y'all want to work with me on kind of putting in some wording there with some kind of consequence. I'm not really sure what that should be, and we can talk about it, but they know the rules at this point. So, and honestly, with the way the numbers are, it could be potentially unsafe for us. So I want to just make sure that we're keeping the staff and other patrons around them as safe as possible.
Sure, Courtney, that makes sense, and I'll be in touch after the meeting to work with you on that.
Okay. Are there any questions on COVID things right now?
I mean, I'm in the opinion like I would do curbside now, but that's me. I don't know what. I don't feel like you need to wait till everyone in your library is sick. We were working in the public and with the banks. We were the last bank to close our lobbies. Every single bank in Dutchess County has all their lobbies closed, so they're only doing drive-up windows. There's a lot of businesses that have worked on that route. I don't know why wait till something happens. I mean, to wait till our hospitals are at full capacity.
I sort of agree with Mark, just saying I've been working at Spack and Kill, and we've been open until just this week, and it seems there's been a big surge just recently. I know you've been following the numbers and all that, but maybe it's better to be proactive. because we just shut
Well-
down too, because of an influx in cases. I don't know if this is a good time, but I was wondering, Courtney, if I could ask something kind of going along with this, if nobody else minds.
Sure.
I had a meeting last night with the Millbrook Arts Group, and they were wondering if they could reach out to you to support whatever online, maybe donate some money or support you however they can with any, if you're moving more towards whatever online programs or anything that you needed in that respect, and also that they'd like to promote your programs through their Instagram also.
Oh, very nice.
So just a side note, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt.
Can you send me the best person to contact for that?
Yep.
Or is it you?
Well, no, I mean, Ann Gifford is the president. She's a good person to contact, but I know they really wanted to work in tandem to support your efforts as things are changing.
That sounds excellent. And I just was working on a bunch of program stuff for January, and it's all in the virtual or take and make theme.
Mhm.
So I think that would be really great.
Cool. So maybe
Mark,
we can.
I was gonna. Oh, sorry, Elizabeth.
No, that's okay. We'll talk about it another time.
Okay.
I'll give you
Mark,
ideas.
I was gonna say that I saw that the bank had closed their lobbies, and is it just kind of like a preemptive thing, just better safe than sorry now type of thing?
No, it's more in the sense that staffing's become a real issue. Well, I don't want to speak for our bank specifically, but what I've generally gathered is, a lot of employees have kids. Kids are now all gone. A lot of schools have gone back 100% virtual. So there's home care issues. It takes just one person to get a whole entire team that needs to be put on quarantine. So what is it? Like the M&T Bank in Amenia is closed. They're not open. Their drive-ups aren't open or anything like that. And I think it's in a matter of just spreading out staffing, because once you lose 5 people at one branch, you need to fill it. So there's a lot of that. There's definitely a lack of staff.
That makes sense. So, like I said, I'm open to moving to curbside. I think I don't want to announce it like we're moving tomorrow, like you missed your chance to get stuff type of thing. But I do think if we do choose to go to curbside, it would be good to give people like a couple days notice. And of course, like the staff need a little bit of notice too. So that's why my thoughts were with how the numbers are going. I was thinking like maybe after Christmas it would be a good idea, like the week of the 28th, because with the huge spike that we saw after Thanksgiving, I can't imagine Christmas is going to be any better. So I just wanted to know what you all thought.
The other thing I've seen is places with, lobbies, banks. I don't know who else is doing it, but they'll be open by appointment. So if somebody called and said, Courtney, my son really needs to use a computer, it is an option to let people come in, at least for right now. Just, I don't know if that helps at all, if that would help, like just from now until the transition of going back to curbside completely, maybe just setting up, just so that people aren't kind of coming in off the street. They actually have to call for contact tracing purposes. So, I mean, that's something to think about as well.
I don't know if that would really help right now, because honestly, most of the people that come in, especially in like the past couple of weeks, are just kind of grabbing their stuff and going. It's not like, and except for like the people using the computers, but they're generally kind of like the same people who would call for an appointment anyway to use the computers. So I don't think that would really help in like limiting the number of people that come in. I think it would pretty much be the same people that are coming in already.
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't need to decide on anything tonight, but if there is anybody that like doesn't agree that we should be moving to curbside soon, please let me know, so I can take that into consideration. But like I said, my thoughts are we're closed next week on Thursday and Friday anyway for for Christmas. So, and then we're supposed to be closing early on Thursday and the Friday for New Year's. So I don't think it would be too disruptive if we moved to curbside. And then, like I said, it doesn't need to be for like 3 months type of thing. It could just be until the numbers kind of calm down and we make sure that we keep staff safe.
Well, I think I would support however you want to handle it. But I agree with that time frame. I think that makes sense.
Okay. So I'm going to keep an eye on the numbers for the next couple of days, but most likely you'll be getting an email from me at sometime towards the end of the week asking us to vote to move to curbside starting the week of the 28th.
Okay.
Fun times. So on to slightly more less stressful things. I don't know. Building updates. Our door lock is working again. I don't know if last time you remembered that our friendly lane entrance was not working. So that is good now. That's all fixed. Michael Sloan brought Jeffrey Van Tassel here, and he estimated the cost to replace our boiler bearing assembly at approximately $920. So I've called him and I'm starting the process to get that fixed. And our alarm system was inspected by Vector in late November, so everything's good with that. We're all set with that for another year. For collection updates, the Hudson River Valley Heritage has approved our application to start digitizing our Bennett collection and hosting our materials. So we had our first staff training session, and we're working with Jen from that organization to start scanning materials shortly. And this is something where if we do need to shut down totally again, it'll be a really good project that staff can work on from home. So I kind of want to get everything set up with the scanning part of it before that happens, if that happens. For development and grant updates, the fall appeal letter was sent out in the end of November. And so far, when I wrote this anyway, we received 39 responses and raised over $5,000, which is pretty cool. We also got a nice donation of $500 from the Vincent and Carol W. Dean Family Charitable Foundation to use for children's books and reading programs, which was very nice.
Is that 500 or 5,000?
5,000.
Okay, good.
So for finance, I'm still talking with Eric about when the best time is to submit our PPP forgiveness application, and right now we're thinking it's probably the middle of January. And this, Nikki, I don't know if you want to talk about this too, but I'd like to propose that the library officially choose to go fine-free starting in January 2021. Overall this year, we've collected less than $1,000 in overdue fines at the library, which isn't surprising considering we were closed for so long, and then a bunch of fines were waived because of COVID. But I want to make sure that you know that this doesn't mean that people can just keep items forever. They're still going to become billed if they're not returned within a certain amount of time, and people will still need to pay replacement costs if they lose or damage an item. And I was talking about this with you, Nikki, and I kind of shared my personal story with you, and I'll share it with the rest of the board if that's okay. But basically, when I was a teenager, I was like 16 or 17, and I loved the library. I would go every week, and I would be awful at returning my books on time, and I would rack up late fines all the time. And finally, it got to a point where my fine was like $50, and my mom was like, "I'm not paying it anymore. You need to take responsibility," teaching me like the hard life lesson. And I didn't have a job. I was a teenager. I had no money besides like what I found on car seats. And I stopped using the library for a couple months, and that was me. Like I used to have postage boxes full of holds to pick up. Like they knew me and everything. So that really kind of made me change my opinion on fine-free libraries. When I first heard of the idea of going fine-free, I was just like, oh, that's crazy. Like nobody would bring stuff back. And then I thought of my own story, and I realized if I, who was such a heavy library user, just walked away from it for a few months because I couldn't afford to pay the fines, like how many other people are doing that? And the only way that I was finally able to pay my fine down was Pleasant Valley did a Food for Fines event where I brought in a certain number of items and my fines were waived. So that's basically my personal saga of why I think that overdue fines are really a barrier to access for a lot of people. And I think it's really not a huge source of income from us, and I think that the benefits of going fine free far outweigh the loss financially.
And I wanna agree with Courtney on all points there. I think there's so much data out there now indicating that this is helpful, and in fact fines create a barrier to access rather than anything else. And as Courtney said, the patrons will still be held accountable for lost books or damaged books. This is purely removing that barrier that a lot of patrons feel when they're worried about their, dollar fine or something like that, or they rack up charges, as Courtney said. If anyone is interested in learning more about this and the benefits of it, or the history of this movement, I have so many articles. I have a ton of stuff on this. I just want to lend my support to what Courtney said. I think it's very much the field of libraries right now. This is the way everything is going.
I also support the idea of going fine free. I don't know if there's any other discussion or anyone else who wants to ask any questions or oppose it, and I don't know if as a board, is this something that we need to vote on? I don't even know.
Can we vote on it since it's in my 2021 budget?
Maybe that's where we do the voting. If we vote for the budget, then we're actually voting for accepting the.
I think it would require a slight change to the policy, right? That would be what we have to vote on.
Yes.
That's fair.
Okay, so then we can vote on the budget, and then as needed, vote separately on a policy, in January. Does that sound okay?
Definitely.
That works.
Sounds good.
All right, moving on to the Friends. The fire alarm in the Franklin Avenue entrance has been moved, and our ceiling light and sample ceiling tile have arrived, so things are starting to progress on that front. The Friends also were really generous and purchased a Cricut machine for the library. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a crafting machine, really. So it lets you cut out stuff. It writes stuff for you. It's basically like a multi-purpose craft machine, and it's super helpful in helping Terry and Abby make the craft kits for teens and kids, because they don't have to cut out a bunch of felt by hand. They can just set it to print out in the machine, and the machine cuts it for them. So it'll save a lot of time, staff time, and frustration in cutting out felt perfectly. So this is a really generous purchase from them, and we're going to get a ton of use out of it just with how popular the craft kits are. I don't think it's something that'll go away anytime soon, so that was really nice of them. For the Mid-Hudson Library System, just a small update that we've renewed our tech support contract with Mid-Hudson for 2021 at the same service level. Their tech support is very helpful, and I feel like especially within the first year of me being here, I'd rather have that in place than move to a lower service level and get stuck with something that I don't know how to deal with. So that's all done. For outreach, as I'm sure you know by now, but we've received another order of blue light blocking glasses. And I officially announced this on Facebook yesterday, I think, and people have already been coming in to pick them up, which is really exciting. And there was a couple of people that responded to our Facebook post saying that they use them and appreciate them. They've already gotten their pair, which is very nice. And I think my favorite thing is when people come to pick them up, they were like, "Oh, how much do they cost?" And we're like, "No, you just take them. They're free. This is what we do." So I think that's really successful.
And Courtney, you can't see us, is that right?
No, I can.
Oh, you can. Oh, good. So you see.
I can. Yeah, I see Nikki has them. And Carrie has hers. And Kay there.
And James, you will get a pair. Don't worry.
I actually stopped by and picked up 2 pair for my kids today.
You did? Oh, awesome. Jody, maybe we should wait and do our picture should we wait and do it in January for a New Year's thing, since we're missing a couple of people? Or should we do it today?
Maybe we could do one today and then do another one
and then decide.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. Can somebody take that picture?
I can do a screenshot.
Okay.
But I don't know if we want to wait till the end, we can do it. It'll be like our final hooray for the end of 2020. So continuing for outreach, on December 7th, the Sun River Health Organization came to the library and they had a table set up where they talked about substance use disorders and they handed out free Narcan kits. And we now have a Narcan kit for the library, and I'm going to be working with them to organize a staff training session. This is something where I think it's useful to have, and they kind of gave me a little mini course on how to use it when they dropped it off. So it's something that's kind of better safe than sorry to have. And they did get a pretty decent response. I thought people stopped and talked to them and were interested in what they had to say. And then finally, just a note that we are collecting food for the food pantry as part of the Millbrook Celebration of Lights. They reached out to us and asked us if we would like to put a box out, and so far the box can't fit the food that we have in it anymore, so I think we're doing pretty well. So for personnel, Elizabeth, her last day at the library is officially December 17th. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that it might have actually been today because I'll be very surprised if we're open on the 17th because of the winter storm coming in. Elizabeth's going to be moving to Massachusetts where her husband has a new job, and I can't say enough good things about Elizabeth. I've known her and her family for a while now, and she's always impressively calm and professional and just a really, really wonderful person to work with. So I just want to say that all of the staff is really going to miss her at the library, and we wish her all the luck that in Massachusetts. So Elizabeth's position will be filled by Justin O'Hearn, who some of you may remember has worked at the library in the past. He kind of went on leave at the library in the spring when COVID happened, and then he came in asking if we needed a sub, and I was like, well, actually, we need a clerk. So that's something that, like I said, it wasn't in my action item, but if you all would like to approve Justin coming back to the library as a clerk to fill Elizabeth's position, as advertised in the job description, $13 an hour. And I met him a couple times, and he's just an absolute wonderful person. He knows our system already, and I think he's going to pick up the COVID procedures really fast. So.
Okay, so do we can vote on that now. Is there a motion to approve Justin O'Hearn coming back to the library to fill the vacant position left by Elizabeth O'Connell? Nikki, is there a second? Carrie, second, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we approve that position being filled by Justin.
Thank you. I think he was a really good fit before, and he'll be a really good fit now. So I think that works out really well. We do have some interviews coming up to fill Diana's position next week, so I'll keep you all updated on that as well. Kind of the final thing for personnel is I'm just missing some sexual harassment law training forms from a couple of board members, and I've emailed them recently. So I really need these by December 31st if I haven't gotten them from you already. For programming, we are getting a lot of really great feedback from parents about Abby's children's programming, and I put a quote in from one of our parents about her writing workshops. And she started to get little like holiday gifts from the kids that they're making her, like little ornaments and things. So Abby's programming is something magical, I think. Everybody loves it. And she's kind of toned down the programming for the rest of December, but like I said, we were working today on scheduling stuff for January, so we're going to get back into it full swing in 2021. Terry's teen craft kits continued to max out each month, and we had 34 teens sign up for craft kits in December, which is pretty much max capacity for both programs that we had. And 34 teens to sign up to do anything at the library is like huge. So Terry is doing a really, really great job with that. We also had a really great response to our Take and Make holiday card kit. We had 20 people sign up and 4 more people on the waiting list. And I originally had planned to just have it open to 12 people, and then within 24 hours, it was full. So I quick emailed the lady who was sending them to us, and we opened it up to 20. So I actually just booked another program for her in January with more cards, and because it seemed like people really liked it. Also this month we had a really cool, successful virtual tour of Jackson Pollock's studio. This is one of those things where COVID has actually enabled this type of programming to happen, where an organization in the Hamptons can do a virtual program for us and we can see the artist studio, which was pretty cool. And like I kind of mentioned before with the Cricket, we are definitely looking at doing more craft and art programs in the future, since they really seem to be the most popular right now. Just a small update on sustainability. Our green team met for the second time in November, and we're working on setting up an editorial calendar to send out staff reminder emails. Abby's working with me on that, and we've hung up signs that Brenda made that remind staff to be as energy efficient as possible. We now have a green team bulletin board in our break room, which Rebecca's decorating a little bit to spice it up. Instead of just having 2 random bulletin boards, we're going to make it look pretty. So this is all stuff that needs to get done on as part of our sustainability checklist to become green business certified. So we've officially started. We're on our way. So I'll keep you all updated as things progress there. And if you want to join our green team, just let me know and I'll add you to the email list to set up meetings. And then my last thing is just a brief update on the website. I feel like we've been working on this for a while now, because we have, but Jillian, who's working on it for us, is another library director and very busy, so she's doing the best she can. But we are, for real, I think almost ready to go live with the website. I attached a link so you can see what it's going to look like when it actually goes live, and I'm pretty happy with it. Jillian did a really nice job, and I think it's going to be a lot better than what we have now and a lot more user friendly. So we're almost there. And then I just
I
have
have a
my
question
statistics
about
and meetings and.
Can I ask you a question about the website?
Sure.
Courtney, I loved the chat feature that you were telling us about. And I was curious if that's continuing to be as useful as you said it was at our last meeting.
Yeah, I think so. People are definitely still using it. And I think considering it's free, it's a great feature to have.
Thanks.
So that's all I have.
Well, sounds good. Well, that's a lot. Thank you, Courtney, very much. Does anyone have any questions or anything for Courtney before we move to our next item? All right. I don't have any communication or correspondence to report. And so we're going to move to the financial reports. I just have one little switch here. Mark, I was thinking that we could start with the treasurer's report and the monthly bills,
Okay.
and then move and follow that with the budget discussion. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I don't even have the agenda in front of me, so
Okay.
sounds great. I have some stuff in front of me, so I guess if everyone's had an opportunity to review the bills, does anyone have any questions about them? The November 23rd and December 10th bills. So I would like to make a motion to approve the bills for November 23rd and December 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills for the 23rd and December 10th.
Okay. And then I guess the little financial report, this primarily goes
who
over.
Who seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Michael, thank you.
And then all in favor of approving the bills?
Oh yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they're approved.
Sorry, I'm rushing. I'm so excited about the budget part. I just want to get through these other financial.
No, sometimes I noticed this last time. Sometimes it sounds like the person that asks for the motion to be made is the one making the motion. So if I ask you to clarify, it's probably just because I wasn't sure if you were the person making the motion or asking for it to be made. Thanks.
All right. So for the financial report, it's primarily going over the October 2020 balance sheet and profit and loss statement. There, just wanted to point out a couple things that are a change from month over month from like September. For the income, most everything is the same. The only thing that changed was contributions income. Back in August, we're way ahead compared to the previous year. Now we're a little bit behind because all it takes is like 1 or 2 big contributions and it kind of fluctuates. So that's how it is with contributions. It's very variable. Obviously, we can't really plan for it. We know which ones are sometimes coming in, but it always changes. And the grants are still fantastic. In terms of expenses, a lot of the same things. Most expenses are down. The only items that are in the positive in that sense are collection development, and I think we're looking at increasing that anyways. We've always never come close to spending our funds that we had allocated for the collection. So we're still got a ways to go, but we're getting there. So it's okay that we're higher on collection development year over year. And computer maintenance is up a lot, but it's such a small line item. I'm not sure what it's really. I believe you mentioned many months ago something with computers. So I believe that.
Yeah, we had to get a new router and then a new computer this year. So there was a couple things like that.
Yeah, so that's fair. I mean, honestly, we probably budget that too low, but we'll be talking a little bit more about that in a minute. So again, our net ordinary income is still plus 27% year over year. So with how interesting this year has been, that is kind of a good result. And everything seems to be projecting in that direction for the rest of the year. Again, with that being said, that our income is up in general, that goes for our balance sheet. Most items haven't changed month over month. They're still in the positive. So I've mentioned before, the only 2 new items to highlight are the prepaid insurance and prepaid expenses. That happens once in a while. They're not big items, so it's okay. And then, all right, so I guess I'd like to make a motion, or does anyone have any questions about the October 2020 financial report? So I would like to make a motion to approve the October 2020 financial report.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So I'm guessing on the agenda now I get to go over the 2021 budget.
Sounds good.
All right, good. So we haven't had any formal meetings in a while with the financial committee. We have been communicating via email. And so just to go over some of the updates, I hope you all had an opportunity to look at it. Numbers in a spreadsheet are always fun to look at. So for comparison purposes this year, I left in the budget for 2019 and 2020. I felt like in previous budgets that we reviewed, we're always going back 2 years, 3 years. We're always like kind of double checking and triple checking ourselves and like what direction are we going? Did we just recently increase or did we not? So I felt having an extra year there kind of gave us a little bit more confidence in making our decisions. there's definitely some notable items that we highlighted and reviewed together, and I'd just like to go over them with you. One is line item 400. That is the government support that we're budgeting. So there's going to be a drop in income of $23,929.20. And that is due to the unresolved contract dispute with Union Vale. Another item, actually, I did not add this in the end to the budget. I didn't really get any feedback about it. It was such a small, highly variable item. This is a 420 for grants. I know Courtney's been doing a really good job with it, but maybe we'll give it another year and we'll go over it to see like if this is something we can kind of really project moving forward, because I'm sure year over year the grants number is going to be very different, and I don't want us to really kind of rely on something like that. Next item is our operating income. This is the one we're looking to perhaps just reduce what we budget for it due to the fact that we're probably going to go fine free in 2021. Next items. So those were the income related items. Now for expenses, the big one is 610. That's the payroll expense. We have an increase of $6,815. So we're going up 2.8% year over year. But at the same time, when you look at our actual expenses compared to budgeted, for probably the last 2 years, we've always been under because of the lack of fully staffing the library team and having interim directors or no director. So hopefully this year we come close to the budget. It would be really nice to have a full team throughout the year. So we went up 2.8% when we originally applied for our 414 back in 2015, and we started receiving funds in 2016. We kind of tried to incorporate a general budget increase of 2%. So 2.8, I guess it's a little bit beyond 2%, and it is one of our biggest expenses. But looking at how we've been paying our staff and stuff, it's well within reason. They've been performing well and everything like that. So I feel comfortable with that number. And then a bunch of other expenses I kind of had Courtney review because they just didn't make sense from what we budgeted and what we've spent previously. So quickly, like the MHLS fees, our utilities and insurance and conference and meetings have always been over budgeted. So we all reduced them. I'm sure you're all looking at it as well. The biggest one we reduced was probably our utilities. We've always really over budgeted that item. Yeah, and then the only one that we felt maybe we've been under budgeting is 675 our programs. So we increased that by $500 or 6.7%. And just like my overall thoughts for our budget this year, year over year, our deficit has grown, but it's grown by the amount of close to the amount of what we've lost in terms of the Union Vale support. So it hasn't changed because we're spending more money or something drastic has changed. So in a sense though, I'd like to kind of keep on showing this deficit just because it's unrealistic to just increase arbitrarily contribution income to kind of cover it. We could say, oh, our annual contribution income is 150,000. We don't know what our contribution income is going to be like week to week. So I feel like over budgeting items that we'll probably reach it just doesn't make sense. So we are showing a deficit. I think perhaps we probably need to keep on showing a deficit moving into 2025 when we reapply for our 414 and, probably request an increase. I think currently we're receiving $184,000 in local support, so probably have to increase that. But generally, even with these deficits and everything like that, as I stated, every month on our financial report, the balances in our accounts keep on going up. So it's one thing to budget it, but in reality, there's so many other things thrown at us. I don't know what I would have budgeted a year ago if I knew COVID was coming. I don't even know what to do. So in that sense, hopefully we'll have a more stable, predictable year. And those are my thoughts. Did anyone have any questions on any of the items? Please have some questions. I'd really like to talk a little bit more about it.
I do have a question, but it's not about, I don't know if it's about the budget. I'm actually just curious, unless it was during one of the meetings that I've missed, we haven't had Meredith in a while from the trust department.
Yeah, I think.
Is that just because of COVID, the Zoom thing, or?
I felt like, we had in Q3, we kind of, me and Courtney had a conference call with Meredith to go over everything. And I think we kind of discussed what we were going to do for Q4. I think I had a conversation with her a month ago. We were aiming for December, and I felt like I was going to reach out to Courtney about it, but yeah.
There's probably nothing we really need to be doing, and everybody's on so many Zoom meetings already.
No, I know, but it is an obligation for them to be there, to be here. I mean, a huge amount of our income is from the trust. I felt we talked about and we're aiming for December. The banking world is challenge right now. So we'll definitely have to talk with her and have her come in Q1. So thank you for reminding me, Carrie. That's a good point.
Okay, thanks.
I thought you provided a thorough explanation of the adjustments and the reasons behind them, and I support what you have presented here. I agree that the grants, the 420, I agree with, waiting. I think that makes sense before, committing ourselves in the budget. So I think that was a good call. Does anyone else have anything that they want to ask, or concerns, or questions for Mark or Courtney on the budget? Is there anything, Mark, that besides what you presented that you particularly wanted to get some feedback or pushback or concern or anything?
I mean, showing a deficit, I thought that'd be interesting. But in a sense, what it kind of lets us know is if everything fell apart and contribution income dried up and we weren't getting any grants, we weren't over budgeting for that stuff, and we weren't putting ourselves in a situation where, let's increase payroll by 30% because we're getting lots of contributions. We can do it. Let's start paying the board members for attending Zoom meetings because we're getting all this money in. And then in reality, that's not the case because certain things aren't going to happen. Like, I felt if we haven't had such a strong budget and other sources of income, losing the Union Vale support, it could be, that's a lot. That's 23,000. That's, I don't know, 3 part-time employees. That's our 80% of our collection development. That's a big chunk of change. So I think just keeping track of it and being realistic with some of the variable income that I mean, we're blessed to get it. I gotta say, we have the trust, which is absolutely amazing as well. But yeah, I guess I'm happy with it.
Okay, Courtney, is there anything that you want to add, or I know you and Mark have been working closely on the various aspects.
I think what we came up with is pretty solid, and I know the loss of Unionville was kind of a blow, but there is always a chance that in the future that could come back this year. Like, you never know what miracles can happen in 2021. So, but I think it's a pretty solid budget, and we can adjust things accordingly throughout the year, of course. So this is something that I pay pretty close attention to make sure that we're not going over anywhere drastically. So, but I do agree that it isn't really a good idea to budget things like that are variable, like the grants and the like donations and things like that. That's just, it doesn't make, I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than like horribly disappointed that we didn't actually get anything. So, but I just want to say thank you, Mark, for doing a really great job with this. It looks fantastic.
All right, thank you, Courtney.
All right, well, I guess if there's no further questions or discussion, I would ask for someone to make a motion to approve the budget, 2021 budget as presented. Is there a motion? Carrie makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and Nikki seconding. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Everybody. Anyone opposed? Terrific. 2021 budget is passed. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Courtney, and the other members of the Finance Committee who have participated in putting this together. Thank you. I know it's a lot of work. All right. So moving on to committee reports, I know we have buildings and grounds, unfinished business. Michael, is there anything that you want to say at this point? I know you've sent out all the information, and I think at this point the proposal's out there to accept the Altieri
Yes.
proposal. Do you want to say anything else, or does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I sent that out. I don't know if everybody saw it or read it. I talked to 3 different firms regarding the HVAC. Altieri is probably, they're a little bit more, but they also include a lot more in terms of what they're looking at. They're also looking at the lighting, like converting the building from fluorescent to LED. Just show us how much that would cost and what's involved. And they're extremely, just so everybody knows, they're the MEP engineer for the Thorn building that we're working on, and they're very thorough. So I'm recommending that we go with them, and so we just need the board to vote on it. Anybody have any questions?
So what we're voting on would be the proposal for the study, right? And then they would then come back with what it will cost to actually finish everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the study is going to nail down exactly technically what is wrong with the system, and what's the problems, and they're going to come up with what they propose, and even options of the upgrades or repairs or replacement of systems for the library, and addressing also the non-code compliant issues. And then they're going to have a cost estimate that goes along with it so that we can make an informed decision.
Okay, so would they end up being the ones that do the work, or are you able to take this study and get other companies to bid on the actual work?
No, so once they come back with the study, they're going to sit there and say, let's just take the air handlers up in the attic throughout the whole building. There's a couple in the basement too. They're going to sit there and say, the DX coils are shot or the reheat system's on the wrong side. We propose that to replace that, it's going to cost X dollars to do that. What happens then if we approve that, they give us a fee, and we can actually solicit other engineers too at this time again, to actually come up with the specifications a contractor would bid from. So the study is going to sit there and say, this is the age of the unit, this is what's wrong with it, this is what's not working. But the study doesn't cover them getting into, you need, Honeywell part number 492, which that'd be what they would do after we tell them the scope we want them to do.
Okay.
And that those documents that they put, an engineer produced then would go to contractors to bid.
Okay.
There's a lot of decision making between, for us as a board, between the study and hiring a contractor.
How long
There's
will it take approximately?
The study itself?
Yeah.
The study itself would probably normally be about a month, but with everything with COVID, it usually ends up being like 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
I'm finding that just in general for all of my projects, which really kind of slows stuff down. And that's, so we'll probably be looking at kind of the end of January into February, kind of getting the information back.
So is it possible that this will be fixed before the summer?
Yeah, if we make decisions, I mean, it could be. I mean, it depends on what we do. I mean, if it turns out that some of these units up in the attic, the guts are completely shot, and we say, look, it's better just replace it. These are not units that you go to the local HVAC supply shop and pick up. They're, Carrier and Train, all these companies, they make it to order. And that can take 3 or 4 months just to get the part made. I mean, look at the little circulator valve that we're replacing for the $900. That's made to order. It takes that's why Jeff takes a couple weeks. It took a week or just to even get a price from the manufacturer. And then it takes a couple weeks for them to actually take it off their shelf, put the little pieces together, and then ship it. It takes time.
Well, I know it would be good if we could move as quickly as we can. I feel like we've been talking about this for, I know you.
Yeah, definitely.
For a long time now. So does anyone else have any other questions for Michael about, well, I guess any aspect of this, but understanding that he is recommending that we go with the Altieri proposed study fee of $7,500 to conduct this study. And then, so if there's no questions, I guess I would like to make a motion to accept this proposal from Altieri and move forward with it.
I'll second it.
Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, then we're going to move forward with Altieri to do the proposed study, and we look forward to hearing the outcome of that. So Michael, you'll work with Courtney to move that forward, or let me know if you need anything from me.
Yeah, no, I'll work with Courtney on that.
Great. Perfect. Anything else from Building and Grounds at this point?
No, but just the 2 main things is the repairing the circulator and getting the study going.
Great. Okay, so we have our usual other committee reports. I'm going to throw it out there if any of the other committees have anything that they want to bring up at this time. I don't have anything right at this moment for long range planning, except that we are going to be starting to work on the next 3-year plan, and we'll hear more about that after the holidays. And do any of the, and personnel, I don't have anything else. Do any of the other committees, development or nominating, have anything today that they want to report? All right, any other new business for this evening or any other concerns, questions? If not, do we want to do our little, our glasses?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to put on our glasses. Oh, you can't even, they're so see-through, you can't even see them.
Everybody, I think I'm gonna head out now.
Oh, James, thank you so
Thank you
much
for
for
having
coming. It was
All right,
nice
nice meeting,
James.
nice meeting all of you.
Thanks, James. Let me
Take
know,
care.
let Jody or I, or certainly Sarah, you probably see Sarah at work, just let us know if you have any questions.
All right,
Yeah, don't,
Or,
absolutely.
you know, and don't feel like.
And we're
you have
not
to
approving
understand.
budgets every month, so you don't have to listen to me talk about budgets.
That was
the whole
tough.
time, okay?
That was very thorough. You did a great job.
All right, thank you.
All right.
thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
You guys
Talk
take
to you
care.
soon. Elizabeth, there you are.
Oh, she was there. Oh, she's back.
Hello.
Oh, I want to see her. Where is she? Oh, there she is.
Oh, stop it. See me all the
All right,
time.
so Courtney's going to do a little screenshot here whenever you have to say when you're ready to take the picture so we can all smile.
Ready?
Okay.
All right, ready?
Hey.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got it.
Awesome.
I don't know if there's a way for me to share it with you to see if you'll approve of it, but we can do a take 2 if you want, just in case.
Take 2? Okay.
Yeah, do one more just in
Maybe
case.
I shouldn't be having you see my
All right,
our hair, yeah.
1, 2, 3. All right, all right, that one's the better one, I think.
Oh, good.
Yay.
All right. So,
And then, do you just want me to put this on Facebook? If somebody wants me to give somebody wants to give me a write up of like a holiday greeting or something, I can stick it on our social media from the board.
sure.
Yeah, or do you want to do it now? Should we do one now and then? I mean, because it's not really a sure thing that everybody's going to be there next month either. So maybe we should just to get something out there.
Sure. No,
Yeah, just go for it.
All right. All right. I'll send you a little holiday message.
Okay.
Thanks.
And thanks, Carrie, for the idea. That would be nice to have that.
A nice idea.
Yeah, really cute idea. And thanks
Yeah,
for the glasses.
thank you for dropping them off, Carrie.
Yes, thank you. I like them very much.
Oh, I
Yes,
said, this
thank
is so funny. I said to, I emailed Matt to tell him that we left them on his porch, and he maybe hadn't seen my earlier email because he said, oh, well, thank you very much, but I don't think they're mine because actually I wouldn't be able to read or write this email right now if you had my glasses. I said, no, not your glasses, the glasses from the library.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey, you found my glasses. All right.
Well, very good. I guess, does anyone have anything else now or otherwise we'll adjourn for the evening.
I am going to, I think I have to get it from Courtney, maybe from you, Jody, but I am going to try to get our spreadsheet with all the trustees' names and information and just get that updated before the February meeting. Everybody can take a look at their terms and let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And then as far as nominating, if anybody does have at least one other person that would be interested in joining for February, that would be great. Not necessary, but it would, I think it would put our numbers at a little bit more comfortable level.
Great. All right. Sounds good.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Yeah.
And we'll be in.
Bye.
And our next meeting, January 19th. And we'll be in touch before then. Hope to see you.
Okay.
Do we have to make a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Happy holidays.
I'm just
Bye.
gonna pick one of
See ya.
you. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Thanks so much.